How long do you think they'll last?
Rain is gonna do the wind, rain and the wind. All right, we're, okay. All right. So at 4:31, we'll call this meeting to order. Thank you everyone for joining us. I'll start with our land acknowledgement. I acknowledge with respect that we are in Robinson Huron Treaty Territory, that the land on which we are gathered is the traditional territory of Anishinaabe and known as Gwating. Gwating is the home of Garden River First Nation, Batchewana First Nation, the historic Sault Ste. Marie Métis Council. Item number 2 on our agenda, the adoption of minutes. Has everyone had a look at the minutes? Any comments or corrections? None noted. May I have a mover for the adoption of minutes? Okay, we have Jen, and a seconder will be Tracy. Thank you. All in favor? Item number 3 on our agenda, declaration of pecuniary interest. Anyone have a conflict to declare? None noted. Item number 4, the adoption of the agenda. Everyone has the agenda in front, and I just want to mention again to the members, if you have something you would like discussed at the meeting, rather than bring it up in new business at our meeting, if you let us know or let Yari know when he's doing the agenda, you can put your request or your comment in the agenda. Anyway, everyone had a look at the agenda. May I have a mover for the agenda, please? Paul, and the seconder, Graham. Thank you. All in favor? Item number 5, 5.1, we have business arising, our outdoor rink resolution. Now, you notice in your agenda package that Yari provided you with some background information about the outdoor rinks. Anyone have any questions or comments on that? Graham?
Yeah, I read it. It was interesting. Good report. Lots of good background there. I was always kind of wondering why there was no volunteer led ranks. So there's interesting context there. But my only question is there a recommendation or a next step that was good to see? Or is this just background for them?
I don't know, Virginia, this is my question to you is, are we expected to provide a resolution at this meeting?
It's up to the committee. So the item was brought forward for discussion to get your thoughts and input on the resolution. And then we pulled together that background documentation just to provide an overview on our current history, then as well as how other municipalities do operate. We were trying to get additional information from some of the communities to bring to the committee. I don't know if Yari's had a chance to connect with Sudbury, who does a lot of the community operated rinks yet. But I do know that he was trying to get more information on how that structure works, as to how it relates with security, supervision. Do they have rink shacks that are there that are being supervised? So there's a number of factors that kind of need to be looked at when looking at that model.
Unfortunately, I did reach out to Sudbury on 2 separate occasions with being told they would call me back, and then I haven't been called back. So that's where we're sitting at, but I can pursue that further.
And it's interesting, I mean, just a comment I have, Graham, when you mentioned about volunteer rinks, there has been in the past, and not too long ago, there were volunteer associations. There was certainly, I think the more recent one was probably in the East End, near Gibb Street or whatever, but basically, it's my belief that it's a good neighborhood asset. I know that this year was certainly a year like none other, but I don't know whether our resolution would say that we would support the continuation of the existing 3 rinks. I mean, I know in other years that I'm not familiar with Merrifield as much, but I know that the Esposito rink and Anna McRae are quite busy at some times. And I would ask for any other comments or or questions from our committee?
Just a comment, I would hope that we would continue to support some city-run rinks. I mean, we want children to be up and moving and active and being outside, so if that's not too much of a burden financially, I could see us continuing to support that.
Anyone else?
Yeah, the question that bounced my mind, the table was really good to kind of compare. Because when I heard that we're gonna compare the municipalities, I was wondering how many ways can you compare them, but there is quite a lot, like supervised or unsupervised, volunteer versus non-volunteer. I guess like what's the art of the possible in terms of like assess, like are unsupervised one, is moving to unsupervised ones enough? Like is that gonna reduce costs? Like, I just don't know.
So the reason why we went to supervised a few years ago is we were having issues at the rink. People not sharing the ice, alcohol being consumed, different things like that. So as soon as we actually hired security guards to work at the outdoor rinks throughout the season. And those issues went completely away as soon as the actual heating shacks that we have at the sites have a security guard in them, as well as same security guard patrolling the grounds.
Right.
Yeah.
But if the decision brought forward by the councillor was to actually shut one down.
Yes.
So I wondered, like, I don't think anyone wants that, but it's like if they're looking to reduce costs,
Right.
moving is unsupervised and open better than nothing.
Yeah, and I think when we look at it geographically, you have Anna McCrae and you have the skating oval at the road center, kind of east end. And then the Merrifield rink is in Midtown. It's not really fully west end. I mean, it's I think looking at it, maybe the Merrifield rink is the one that might get closed, but then it would only leave the open skating for more, around City Hall here with our skating trail and our new community center rink. But I don't know. I just think, as I say, the Esposito rink seems quite busy at times, and I can't say that I'm a user of it or whatever, but anyway, I think that the counselor in question was suggesting that they trim $75,000 off the operating costs. Was that what it is?
Yeah.
And that would probably be the closure of one of the rinks?
Yes, that was the counselor's thought process.
So from a geographical point of view, when I look at Anna McCrae, if there's when we talk about the bigger, when we talk about the oval or we talk about the one down by City Hall, those neighborhoods, I guess I'm still such a fan of the neighborhood model, and I'm sad to see when schools close and children get moved further and further away from their home base, and keeping some of those, because I don't know what else is out there's other rinks out in the West End that are, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so with the summer report I did, we only have the 3 rinks. So we have centrally, we would say Esposito, east side, we would say would be Anna McCrae, and then west side, but not truly west side, would be Merrifield.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do have leisure skating options, 2 of them centrally located, here being the downtown plaza, which is, because it is a refrigerated ice surface, which means a longer season. And we do have a staff person operating a Zamboni during the opening hours. And then we do have the Clerk Skating Trail, which is another leisure skating option, as well as the oval, which is in the west or east end.
Do we have any data on the usage of these to help support the cause? Because I do agree with Tracy that I recognize that there's a financial cost, but sometimes when we look at like cost versus benefit and keeping recreational opportunities, especially those that are no to low cost open, the benefits sometimes like you can justify the cost with the benefits. My other question would be, is there like, are there any would there be an appetite for someone to, if they do want to close it, would there be an appetite for someone or a group of, individuals to volunteer to help keep it open? Because some of the other communities do have volunteer led
Um,
trails.
just to answer, your questions, Jen. So part one, we do keep rink usage stats. We don't have the stats yet compiled for the 2023-2024 season. But if we're looking at 2022, 2023, in that range, so Anna McCrae in 2021, 2022 was 5,114. That dipped to 3,522 users the following year. Esposito was 2,244, and that dipped to 1,587 last season. Merrifield, 5,470 in 2021-22, to 4,095 in 2022-2023. So yeah, so that gives you a bit of an idea on the boarded rinks.
Right. Thanks, Virginia.
Yeah.
Sorry, I remember being a kid and we would, you would walk, I walked to Parkland from my house and, you strapped on your skates. I mean, I would hate to take away, I don't want to see families have to get into a vehicle or hop a bus to go and enjoy a skate or just take your kids out to, that's what I like about the neighborhood models. They generally don't have to go very far. It's low or no cost, and you can go and skate, play hockey, whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tracy. I really like the neighborhood rinks as well. Lots of memories, and it is, it's great for families. You go there, friends get together. I like to see them maintained if they can be maintained. In terms of volunteers, there may be some kind of model could be worked out where if you had senior high school students that have their volunteer hours or some combination of different things like that, maybe if you're looking at save some costs, maybe that's the way to go with some volunteering at the rinks.
Just to add in, because that ties into Jen's question as well. I think they did have volunteers in the past. There was, I think, an issue with consistency. So if you're having youth or different individuals go open up the change rooms to make them available, there is some inconsistency potentially in those services. So I think that was one of the challenges. Just as well as some insight, I don't believe Grandview did their rink this year. We would, in the past, help assist schools that were interested in maintaining a rink through their parent groups. And a few of those have fell by the wayside over the last number of years with the parent groups coming down. It would take, probably a couple years if you were going into a volunteer model to really develop a strong base for that, and then we'd have to see what the logistics, the liability, and all those requirements are if you're asking, the volunteers or youth to potentially have to, address certain situations, maintaining that. Or one of the things we wanted to find out is the rinks that are volunteer based, do they actually have enclosed change facilities, or are they just a rink where, people come and they water it and they help take care of it? Do they have those security services? So we're still trying to determine some of that information.
I'd just like to say that with the amount of usage that you have recorded in the last couple of years, I'd like to see that circulated amongst our members. And we're having this discussion now, but I think that at our next meeting, whether it be next month or the month after, that we come up with our resolution by that time to make a decision. And I just think that, the numbers that Yari just mentioning, showing me on his phone, would get community support, or they're an interesting community facility in a normal winter. And I agree with what Mark says. It's just, I think that the three rinks are a nice balance. And, but I understand that the job council has trying to trim the budget. But it's, I think this is a fairly, important activity. As Tracy says, if you live in the neighborhood or your neighborhood, is close to those rinks.
Dean, may I ask a question?
Go ahead, Mark.
So
ahead.
just in preparation then to provide the committee with additional information, we would provide outdoor rink usage stats. Is there any other pieces of information that the committee would find helpful for us to do some additional research on to bring back?
Yeah, I think possibly like the suggestion of how much it costs to do the security and run the rink as they have run in the past.
So potentially looking at the other communities, if we can make contact with them and understanding their volunteer models and who volunteers, the cost, any like the pros, the cons, if we could get that information, it might be potentially helpful for us.
Yeah, and we can ask questions to find out, who's managing the criminal reference checks? How are they keeping that database? What are all the pieces that are factored in when they're vetting volunteers that are running these groups? Or are they actually neighborhood associations or groups that are already somewhat established in a neighborhood that are taking these on? So we can find out more information on that from Sudbury.
Yeah, because really if the component is having a PWT or the city ice, I suppose, preparing the rink and maintaining it and getting it ready. And then of course the other thing would be the security for the hours of operation, I guess.
And that actually would be useful information too. Maybe what are the typical hours of operation for each of these rinks? The outdoor rinks? That could be put in the information.
The outdoor rinks during weekdays run 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. I believe, might be 10 p.m. Yeah, and then the weekdays are 12 p.m. to 10 p.m.
On weekends.
On weekends, yeah.
And
Gary, is the idea that this is is this the report that eventually goes to council? Or
Yeah, so basically what we're gonna do is provide, or not, you as a committee are gonna provide input to the council regarding your beliefs in regard maintaining the status quo, reduction in arenas, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because there was one point that wasn't in the report that Brent mentioned last time that I thought was really interesting, was that there's no like fixed cost for the season for security. It's like a daily, as long as if they're open a day, you pay, but if they're closed, you don't. So
Yeah,
those savings that they're looking for, they probably got them and more.
we definitely saved money this season. I think
Yeah.
we're only open about 2 weeks in the end of January, from mid-January to the beginning of February was our only season for outdoor rinks.
Yeah, so I think that's an important point too.
Is it my understanding that we're the only city on this chart that has a supervised rink chart?
So I believed all rinks are supervisors. I believe Thunder Bay had 13 supervised rinks, 12 unsupervised. Sudbury,
Okay, yeah, I see.
yes, yeah, when I was trying to get their information from them. 2 attempts so far, no response. City run rinks are unsupervised in Timmins, and then the border rinks are unsupervised in North Bay. They also don't have a change room or washrooms available. Well, we typically have the rink shacks, we call them, as well as porta johns at the city run sites.
Okay. I can speak to Sudbury. I lived there for a short period and I probably used 3 or 4 of their rinks. Most of them were all, as far as I'm aware, community use.
Yeah.
It was a mixed bag of whether it had a shack or not. They were generally open. Sometimes they weren't, they must have been on schedule.
Do you remember seeing a staff person there?
No, never.
Also, I know with Sudbury, the difference between them and say us is we're open Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 10 p.m., weekends 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. However, a lot of them seem to do kind of the Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 to 9, Saturday, Sunday, 12 to 6 type thing. So they did have limited hours.
And that might be a suggestion. Or trimming some of the budget.
Yeah.
You know, doing part-time or, you know, like the ski hills all closed on Monday and Tuesday, you know, I mean, it's, and that's a cost savings. I mean, the rinks are probably used 7 days a week by neighborhood people. And whether, that would be unsupervised days, I guess, as well.
I know there's some other models out there, Ottawa does a community use as well. I think it's more, you apply the volunteer group is essentially like a little bit of a pot of money towards maintaining, you know, putting money into maintaining the rink, shovels and that kind of thing. I don't know if that's worth looking at too, but I know that's definitely another community out there that has a volunteer and city run.
And well, so we know where we're going from here now, Yari?
Yeah, so we'll compile that information for you. We have all the information regarding attendance. So that's just a quick email to you guys. It's all on an Excel sheet we track every year. And then I can continue to try to reach out to Sudbury with my fingers crossed that the return of my phone calls.
Okay. Well, thanks for what you've done so far. It's, I mean, as I say, I didn't get a chance to look at it closely till today, and I was quite intrigued by your chart. Any other questions or comments? Okay, well, we'll look forward to that additional information and pass that on to, it'll be in our meeting next time. Okay, item 5.2, park development updates. Any news, anything new from our last meeting?
Yeah, so I can provide a few updates. With regards to the splash pad, we're currently in the process of having the shade area sourced. So I'm just working on the specifications for that so I can go out for quotes. We're targeting obviously an opening this June. Just ordering the benches for around the area, and the change structures similar to Bellevue are actually being made by our carpentry department right now. So those will be ready to go, and then we'll be doing obviously landscaping and stuff as the spring, we roll into the springtime. We've got Rosedale, so we're going to be finishing up that project in the spring with the final installation and the laying of the rubber surfacing. And then we'll be planning a grand opening for that space in conjunction with Kiwanis. I'm just trying to think, there's a number of projects. Point to Shane, that project is moving forward. So we've currently the Moby mats and the the matting system and the water wheelchair are actually being shipped right now. So we'll have those ready to go for the fall. We're working with the Accessibility Advisory Committee to come up with a sign out process for the wheelchair. So that families, when they do go out, you know, will know that it's there and they're not making a trip all the way out to Point to Shane and not having access to that chair. Pathways are scheduled for the spring. They're actually going to be starting some work out there soon, hopefully in the next few weeks, to actually start prepping the pathway area. And I'm trying to think, there's Rosedale, Pusheen. Yari, can you think of some that I'm missing? Oh, our park, sorry. As everybody's aware, we did receive funding to do some playgrounds this summer. So some of the funds that were allocated in the 300,000, we're going to be taking a portion of that funding in order to address components in parks that have broken. So our Parks Department is currently trying to source the compatible pieces in hopes to do those repairs that are required immediately in those parks. The remaining funds will be used to update parks as per our park revitalization plan. So we're just working with the accessibility advisory staff, Diane, planning to, look at pathways because we need to ensure that we're making the playgrounds more accessible, components that are accessible. So that's all part of kind of where we're just trying to work the numbers right now. And then we'll be preparing RFPs, doing some open houses. And then another neat project that is going to be tied into this summer, we're working on finalizing is an Adopt a Park program. So community members will have the ability to adopt a park, and the staff up at Public Works will be providing the cleanup kits and everything that they need to go do the cleanups in the park, and then they'll go on site to pick up the garbage. So that'll be a nice program that we're hoping to roll out within the next couple months.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Paul?
Has it been shared which potential 3 would be next on the list for the revitalization from that pot? Or is it not known yet?
Sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing.
Yeah, he's asking if we are putting out to the public which parks we're revitalizing.
Yeah, so we're just in the process of finalizing a couple things. We need to nail down what it's going to cost for each park, and that'll determine if we're able to do 2 or 3 this year. So as soon as we have those numbers budgeted out and we're comfortable with them, then we'll be providing that information to the committee. But we are following that revitalization plan that we had initially identified 3 parks per year. We just need to confirm if we're able to do 2 or 3 this year, because we are taking some of that money to address immediate needs in a number of parks. So, as the committee knows, there are pieces and components that have been out of order for a while. So we need to make sure we address those and get those components back into the mix.
Sure, thanks. Can I ask one more question?
Go ahead.
My question is when it comes to once the decision is made on which parks will be revitalized, you mentioned open house. Will that include reaching out to the people that live in the area of those parks to see kind of what they want to see in those parks for equipment or amenities, that kind of thing? Or is that kind of just set in the background by city staff?
We will be doing open houses. So the goal when we're replacing the equipment is to ensure that the types of play components are going to continue, but then also adding in accessible play components, which most of those parks don't have right now. So, things like we'll have a swing set in all the parks that'll encompass, belt swings, the toddler swing, an inclusive seat. So those would be components that we would, as we're taking the swing set out, we'll be replacing the swing set, having the slide components, play panels. So we're trying to keep those types of structures relatively consistent, because when we're going out to tender and bidding, we want to make sure that we're replacing the types of play features that are currently there. And then adding potentially additional amenities in. Part of what the Adopt a Park program is also going to have, which I should have mentioned, is there are options. Currently, right now, we have a commemorative bench program. We're looking at developing a type of program where neighbors could get together and say, what, we would like to add some spring toys, or we'd like to add a teeter-totter or different components. So you could also have that ability for, say, a parent group at Parkland to chip in and say, well, we'd like to contribute to this park and we're going to add this feature in. So we'll be purchasing that feature. So that's something else that we're looking at rolling out, is having that catalog of different items that different, school groups, parent groups, or neighborhoods can consider contributing to expand their park space.
Thanks, Virginia. Any other questions or comments?
Maybe a quick comment, Virginia, when the Adopt a Park program is rolling out, could you communicate that with us, and maybe we can share with some of our networks as well?
Absolutely. We're looking at trying to create some social media posts that we'll be able to have, hopefully get the word out with all of our, partners, PrAC members, and different groups that we work with. So we want to do a lot of advertising around it because I'm quite excited about the opportunity, and I think it's going to really help streamline things and simplify the process for, we have a lot of community members that are interested in helping contribute. So I think it's going to make it a lot easier for them to, participate and be able to take ownership of the park spaces. So I'll absolutely share that.
Okay,
Thank
thank you. All right, item number 6 on our agenda, task force updates. 6.1 is STAC. Actually, STAC members that were available met on February 29th at the Synergy Room at the Water Tower Inn. And we were attended a presentation by the City Planning Department. Basically, they're working on our active transportation plan, which was last updated in 2007. And they would like to have a new plan or revisions to the plan available and implemented by later this year. Basically, we had the director of planning and a senior planner presented. It was quite exciting to see what they are hoping to have happen. They're trying to organize some improvements on that Great Northern Road second line intersection. That's kind of a priority for them, which would make it a lot more pedestrian friendly and active transportation friendly. Basically, the STAC committee is meeting again on March 21st. And essentially more of that will be sort of hammered out and offered. But as I say, there will be open houses for this revised transportation master plan, and we'll keep you apprised as to when those will be occurring. Any questions or comments? Item number 7, new business. And this is one of the reasons we're meeting here today. We have 7.1, we have a financial assistance request. Basically, everyone had a chance to look at that. Any questions? Actually, I want to thank you, Ari, for providing us with the approval process and the information on and doing our financial assistance. Not that we don't forget about it, but it's nice to have it have that reminder. Okay, we have a resolution here, and you want me to read it?
Do the vote first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, we need a mover for a financial assistance request. So may I have a mover for this financial assistance?
Ken Dean.
Oh, thanks, Tracy. A seconder? Mark? All in favor? And the request is resolved that the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee endorsed the application by swimmer Bree Reed to receive assistance to attend the 2024 Speedo Western Canadian Championships from March 21st, 24 to 24th in 2024 in the amount of $200. Thank you, everyone. Okay, item number 8 on our agenda. Is there any correspondence to report or mention? Gary or Virginia? I have none.
No, just included the summary of the Sioux Site Hearing
Right.
newsletter.
Yes, thank you for doing that. Yeah, there's an event actually this Saturday, the Beaver Freezer Marathon. Then the latest news in the last week or two, they've had to cancel the skiing portion of the Beaver Freezer. It was an event that operates out of Hiawatha Highlands and goes as far as Trout Lake. Unfortunately, the decision was made about 3 weeks ago, or fortunately, the decision was made about 3 weeks ago to not go on the lakes. So they revised their route a little bit, and it'll be within the skiing and fat biking or mountain biking trails at Hiawatha, but it's limited to just runners and fat bikers. So basically, it'll be occurring this Saturday. Any other questions at all? We're at item number 9, our next meeting scheduled for April 2nd, 2024. And item number 10, adjournment. They have a mover to adjourn, please. Graham, and a seconder. Thanks, Jen. Thank you, everyone. All in favor? Resolved that this committee now adjourned.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Good night.